Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Oyinka, and if it's your first time stopping by, then you baby are most definitely welcome. Now in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how much it costs approximately if you wanted to embark on the journey as a Nigerian doctor moving from Nigeria to the United Kingdom. Now I'm using Nigeria specifically because that's where I came from and that's where I can relate to. These figures are mostly broad and can apply to IMGs in general, but I'm concentrating on Nigeria because again that is where I came from. So if you are an IMG from another part of the world, not from Nigeria, just change these figures to your currency. For example, like flight fees and all of that, just change that to your currency and it should be good to go. But the rest of it is pretty basic and standard. If that sounds like something that you'll be interested in, then please keep on watching. If you don't know, I recently moved from Nigeria where I was working in one of the federal hospitals in Nigeria, and right now I'm working in the emergency department in one of the NHS trusts, and I'm super excited about that. I know that many people right now would love to move from Nigeria to the UK for a better opportunity, so I feel like this video is really timely at this particular moment, especially with the way things are in Nigeria. Great, so I have my notebook here, my journal really, because I've written down all the things that you need to know if you're trying to jackpot as a doctor. And I'm going to start with the first thing, which is of course the fact that you need to make up your mind. That's absolutely free of charge. You don't need to pay any money to make up your mind. Just make up your mind and decide that that is what you want to do, and you can get started. Once you have done that, you need to write a test of English language. Now there are two common tests of English language which GMC accepts. The first one is OET. That test is a bit more expensive, so most Nigerians tend to go for the IELTS because it's cheaper. One caveat, the OET is significantly easier to pass than the IELTS. I feel like the people who mark the IELTS in Nigeria they have a beef with Nigerians, because you find that many times Nigerians are having to write IELTS multiple times despite the fact that you pretty much speak English. So the IELTS is a little bit complex in terms of that, but the cost of the IELTS is 80,000 naira as of today. That is how much it costs to write the IELTS from Nigeria. If you're going to be writing it from the UK, it costs about £175, which is significantly more expensive if you think about it. That is literally almost double the price of how much it costs to write the IELTS in Nigeria. So if you're going to be writing the OET, I'm going to put the price of the OET on the screen. I didn't write that, so I don't know the exact amount of money it costs, but I know that it's more expensive than the IELTS. Now you have to pass the IELTS to be able to even book your PLAB 1 exam. If you haven't passed the IELTS, you can't book your PLAB 1 exam. Now what do I mean by passing the IELTS? The IELTS is not a pass or fail exam really. The minimum for you to be able to book your exam would be at least a band 7 in all the divisions, which would be writing, speaking, reading and listening, but a total band score of at least 7.5. So if your total band score is 8.5 but you scored like a 6 in writing or reading or whatever, you haven't passed the IELTS because you need to score at least a 7. Great, so once you have done that, you're going to need to go onto the GMC online website and book your PLAB 1 exam. Now the PLAB 1 exam as of today costs around £240, and that, if we're going to be converting it to naira using a conversion rate of 770 naira to £1, would be around 184,030 naira. Once you have booked your PLAB 1, of course you're going to need study materials to be able to prepare adequately for your PLAB 1, because 184k is not small money, so you don't want to waste that. Now the resource I use to prepare for my PLAB 1 is PLABable. It's an online subscription and you pay, I believe £25 for 3 months. That's how much I paid, and £25 converted to naira again is around 19,250 naira. PLAB 1 is written 3 times a year in Nigeria as of now, which is March, June and November. So you can pick any of the dates in March, June and November to write your PLAB 1. Once you have written it and passed it, then you can move on to book your PLAB 2, and the PLAB 2 fee as of now costs around £906. PLAB 2 when I wrote it was £875, but it was recently increased this year, so there's a significant jump there, and that of course is going to affect how much you are going to pay in naira. But 875 pounds in naira is around 673,750 naira. Once you have booked your PLAB 2, obviously you want to start studying for your PLAB 2, because what 673k is not small money, so you don't want to fail the exam. And what I did was I used an academy called Samson Academy. I 100% recommend Samson Academy. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just really find that Samson Academy did well for me, and if I have the chance to recommend any academy to anybody, that's the one that I would recommend. It is the most expensive academy to attend, I'm not gonna lie, and there are cheaper ones that you could attend. But again, I attended Samson and it was around 600 pounds for 2 weeks, and it is a very intensive 2 weeks course, and that resulted to 462,000 naira. Now, once you have done all of that, of course you want to book your visa so that you can go and write the PLAB 2, because the PLAB 2 can only be written in Manchester. So if you haven't traveled abroad before, this is a perfect opportunity for you to travel abroad, because you're going to be writing your PLAB 2 in Manchester, and that is pretty exciting on its own. But how much does it cost for you to get to Manchester? A visa to Manchester, which would typically be a visiting visa, because PLAB 2 is a really common exam, there is a subsection under visit visa for PLAB 2 specifically, and that visa costs around $133. It is around 54,000 naira thereabout. After that, then you're going to go, of course, to fly to the UK. Now, flight ticket recently has been moving mad. It has been moving mad. It's pretty expensive to fly nowadays, and it costs anywhere from 450k if you're going to be using the cheaper airlines like Egypt Air, to around 700-800k if you're going to be using a direct flight like British Airways or Virgin Atlantic. So again, it depends on your budget. And yeah, of course, you're going to want to apply for your visa, and bear in mind that when you're applying for your visa, you should have been building your account for quite a bit. I built my account for about 6 months because I wanted my account to reflect more input than output, and I didn't want any large withdrawals or large chunks of money missing or any of that. So I was very intentional about my account for 6 months, because you need to present a 4 to 6 months bank statement when you're applying for your visa. And when you're doing that, please try to have a minimum of 1 million naira in your balance so that you don't get rejected. A lot of times people get rejected for various reasons. Maybe the input in the income in the account hasn't been optimal, or the output is too much, or you don't have enough money in the account, stuff like that. And I mean, at this point, you really don't want a visa rejection, so please try to build your account to at least 1 million naira, and try to be intentional about your spending for 4 to 6 months prior to your visa application so that you don't get a rejection. After that is done, once you get to Manchester, you're happy, you're ready to take your PLAB 2, you're excited. Of course, you're going to need an accommodation. If you don't have an accommodation in Manchester, then of course you're going to have to pay. The exam itself can only be written in Manchester, but the Samson Academy can happen in Lagos, in Manchester, in London, depending on what you want. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to just put the Samson Academy to be happening in Manchester. I'm going to put that as a total stay of 16 to 17 days, and you're going to spend between 20 to 30 pounds a day. Now, if you're spending 20 to 30 pounds a day on accommodation, it will take your accommodation fee to around 360,000 naira for the period. This, of course, is included in the 1 million naira that you had in your bank statement that you presented to the embassy. So it's not like it's a totally different amount of money. It's just the money that you're going to be spending from your bank account. I hope that makes sense to you. Of course, you're going to eat food as well, and you're going to move about when you're in Manchester. So I'm putting that period, that amount of money for like your living costs for a 2-week period to be around 200 pounds, because you're not trying to be living like Bill Gates where you came to write an exam. Do you know what I mean? You're not trying to be spending all the money in the world. You're not trying to be buying all the most expensive things. You're just trying to write your exam and pass. So 200 pounds is pretty conservative at 100 pounds per week. Now, I'm putting that because I'm assuming that you're not going to be eating out all the time, ordering Uber Eats and all of that, because if you are, then that amount of money is not going to be enough for 2 weeks. Okay, so if you're going to do that, then the living cost would be around 154,000 naira, using the same exchange rates that we've been using all along. Once you are back in Nigeria, you've passed your PLAB 2, you're super excited, you're going to be a doctor in the UK. I mean, what could ever happen to me at this point? Like, you're living large, feeling on top of the clouds and all. The money still hasn't finished spending. I've not finished spending the money, my dear. You still have to spend some more money. And the first thing that you need to do is something that we call epic verification. Now, epic verification is just a way for you to verify your results, especially if you studied abroad. Epic verification is a two-step verification process, one with notary cam, I believe that's the name, and epic itself, and that entire process costs around 235 USD. 235 USD would be around 142,000 naira. Once that is done, of course, your school is going to need to be in communication with epic, because epic is trying to verify your results that it actually came from your school. So me, for example, I went to the University of Ibadan. And when I did my epic verification, epic had to be in contact with University of Ibadan. And University of Ibadan charged me a whopping 40,000 naira to be in contact with epic. It's expensive, my dear brethren. 40K just for them to say Oyinkan went to UI. Are you joking? And for them to send them my certificate. Like, certificate that I've worked for 7 years, they're still charging me 40K just to send it to epic. I mean, I found it very annoying, but again, this doesn't apply to all schools. It depends on your school. Some schools might be more expensive, some schools might be cheaper, some schools might even be free. But what you need to do is you need to be on the neck of the people in your school to communicate with epic, because if they don't, this process will slow you down and literally take forever, and that can be very, very frustrating. Now, once epic has verified your results, you get an email saying, oh, your results have been verified, blah blah blah. Then you can apply to be a doctor on GMC. So you can apply for like a GMC registration. If you are a newly qualified doctor, and by newly qualified I mean someone who qualified within the last 5 years, your application fee is going to be £161, and that is 123,970. So let's just say it's like 124,000 naira. If you don't fall into that bracket, you're going to spend a whopping £420. And my dear brethren, you know how much £420 is if you do the math. So there's that. Now, once that is done and you have your GMC registration and it tells you congratulations, you have been accepted, blah 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 blah, then you need to start applying for a job. And there are various websites you can apply. You can apply across the 4 countries in the UK. It's not specific to England, so you can apply to England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. The world is literally your oyster once you have gotten to that part, but just bear in mind that it does take quite a bit, so don't be too excited and don't be too eager. Just ease into the process and go with the flow. Once you have done that and you found a job, you've attended the interview, you've been selected, you have gotten your confirmation that you are the one that has been chosen, then the trust that employed you is going to send you a certificate of sponsorship. Now, this certificate of sponsorship is going to enable you apply for a tier 2 visa, which is a work visa in the UK. If your trust does not tick that they are going to maintain you for the period, then you're going to need to have around £1,275 as a bank statement when you are submitting your application for your tier 2 visa. So you need to speak to your trust to please tick maintenance. That means that they are going to maintain you for the period before you start earning your money. If it's just you that is applying, it's around 1,270. If you have dependents, if you have husband, if you have wife, if you have children, of course that amount of money is going to go up. So please emphasize that maintenance is ticked on your certificate of sponsorship. It just makes your life so much more easier, so that way you don't have to submit a bank statement when you are submitting your application for your tier 2 visa. How much does the tier 2 visa cost? The tier 2 visa costs £250. It's not so expensive. You would think that, oh, because it's a work visa, it will be very expensive. It's not so expensive. It's £250, and that amount of money is 192,500. Of course, if you have dependents, again, it's going to just multiply that so you know how much you're going to be spending. To apply for your tier 2 visa, you need some basic things. You need a TB certificate, which shows, because Nigeria is a TB endemic region, kind of, you need to show and prove that you're not going to be carrying tuberculosis to the United Kingdom. So you're going to go to have some TB checks. That costs 58,800 naira. You also need a police clearance. This is to show that you're not a criminal in Nigeria and you are not like somebody that is wanted. This depends on where you are, but it costs anywhere from 10,000 naira to 30,000 naira. I think I paid 10,000 naira for my own clearance. Now, once you have your TB certificate and your police clearance, then you can now take that for your visa application fee. Those are the only two things you need. You don't need a bank statement at this point, provided that your trust takes maintenance in your certificate of sponsorship. Once that is done and you have your visa, you're literally good to go. But I would literally suggest that you have some money in your bank account, again, because the fact that the trust takes maintenance does not mean that they are going to actually maintain you. They just did you a favor, kind of, but it doesn't mean that they are going to maintain you for the period. Some trusts are nice enough to give you maintenance, and they may give you 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 pounds for maybe 1 or 2 months. I don't know, depending on the trust. But more often than not, they're not going to maintain you. They just take it to do you a favor. So you have to think of how you're going to survive once you come into the UK for at least a month before you start earning any money. If you have relatives, that's good. You don't have to think too much about accommodation and feeding. So it really cuts down your cost a lot. If you don't, then you have to think about that. And I would suggest that you have at least 1,500 pounds for your accommodation and living costs for 1 month before you start earning. This is how much it costs, and like the total amount of money after pressing calculator and doing all of that takes it to around 4.5 million naira to 5 million naira for the entire cost of Japa, moving from Nigeria to the UK as a doctor. Now, you know that if you're doing like master's degree program, it's significantly more, which is why I mentioned in one of my earlier videos that a master's is not a cheaper route to move as a doctor. Being a doctor and going through the PLAB route is literally one of the cheapest routes you can take, because this is just around 6,000 pounds thereabout, but we know that the tuition for a master's program is around 12,000 pounds, so it's almost double of that. So if you can go via the PLAB route as a doctor, please do that. It's cheaper. You start earning, even the path to citizenship is shorter. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My mouth is paining me because I've literally been talking for around 30 minutes at this point. Like, I didn't even know that this was so much information, but yeah, I know that this is information that will be helpful to people who are trying to move to the UK as doctors from abroad, IMGs in general. So yeah, let me know what type of videos you guys want to see, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.